please, please, no photos, no photos. Oh my gosh, this is so unexpected.
Can I get your autograph?
Well, I couldn't. Well, maybe just one. There you go.
Oh my god, thank you so much.
Nice. Yo, what is up, everybody? Super pumped because the channel just passed 1,000 subs, and I am super excited about it. The last video did super well, and I'm so thankful for all the support. Here's to many more. I was so excited about hitting 1,000 subs that I made a paper YouTube play button, because you know when you get like 100,000 you get the silver play button, and 1,000,000 you get the I think it's I actually don't know what it's made of, but I think this little paper play button is like we hit 1,000, and I'm super pumped about that. But as a special video, I figured I would read some comments on my previous videos and talk to you guys about, like, you know, some Yu-Gi-Oh stuff and what's going on and all that good stuff. So figure we'll just start with the most recent video and kind of just work our way through the different ones. This video, by the way, is the strongest Yu-Gi-Oh card, which is the video about Maxi and how it's affecting the metagame and all that stuff. By the way, I had like a really good time making this video. I had the idea like forever ago, and I finally put it together, and super excited, super pumped about how it turned out. So again, thank you guys so much for watching. Franksy says, it's so powerful they made 3 separate cards to replicate a fraction of its power. Yes, for the reference. And yeah, it's super interesting because Konami kind of does this thing when certain cards are like too powerful. They'll kind of like make weaker versions of the card. They did that with Pot of Greed, where they made Pot of Avarice, Pot of Extravagance, and Pot of Greed, Pot of Extravagance, and Pot of Prosperity. That is really hard to say. I think the same thing is just happening with Maxi and the Mulcharmy cards. It's kind of just like the same thing. Whereas the power of Maxi has been diluted into 3 smaller cards. So Madija Drevkar, I cannot pronounce that, says, amazing editing and the video looks super nice. Thank you so much. I actually really like editing. It is one of my favorite things to do. I'm also editing for other people. If you want me to edit your video, check my, I have a YouTube YT jobs link in this description. Check me out, hit me up. I'll edit your video for you. Thank you for all the nice things you guys are saying about the video and stuff like that. I literally, like, my favorite thing to do in the world is edit. I don't know. I'm a nerd. Let's see. Can I like make the, oh, there we go. Yeah, I can make it like fully. Subzex99 says, this was a really good video, props. The part about deck cost is something I've been thinking about. Dual cost to keep a certain balance in the game, like in an alternate format, but obviously it would be kind of impossible to implement. So the whole like deck cost thing, if you've seen that video, is the idea that like each card has like a number value associated with that card's power level, and in order to like enter a duel, you have to be like at a certain power level. So say like the deck cost is like 1,000, the total power level of every card in your deck has to total no more than 1,000. And it was taken from like older Yu-Gi-Oh video games, and I thought like, hey, it's a really good idea to implement that in the modern format, because like, you know, you can look at other people's decks and then see like, oh, okay, this deck is like a 500 power level deck. Let me play a 500 power level deck, you know? And it's an easy way to like limit the power level of the game, and also like have players kind of agree on like where they want to play the game at, if that makes sense. I think it's a really good idea. I think it's like, it kind of solves the Maxi issue. I think it's like, I really think that the idea has potential, because like the idea is that like you'll have like super strong meta decks like Tenpai or Snake Eye, and they'll run Maxi too. And it's like, well, Maxi was designed for like weaker decks. So like, how do you stop stronger decks from playing strong cards? Well, the deck limit, you know, the deck cost system. This means that only weaker decks will be able to run Maxi, and stronger decks like Tenpai won't be able to use those cards. So Martin Hell S says, I feel like I stumbled on such a high quality essay. I don't play Yu-Gi-Oh, but you got me hooked. Thank you so much. The reason why, so I actually have comments in here saying that like, oh, let me see if I can find it. There are comments in here that are saying like, oh, like in the beginning I was like over explaining how Yu-Gi-Oh works, because a lot of people who are subbed to me already like play Yu-Gi-Oh. But the reason I did that is because like I wanted to make the video as top level as possible, so that like if you don't play Yu-Gi-Oh, you can still watch the video and kind of understand what I'm talking about. I find myself watching like Pokemon videos and like Magic the Gathering videos all the time, and I have no idea what a lot of the mechanics are. So like videos that kind of like explain those mechanics and then tell me everything, like though, like I like those videos a lot, and that's what I was trying to do there. I feel like a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh players don't realize, like, because they've been playing so long, they don't realize like how complex this game is. So like I like it feels like I'm explaining a lot because that's just like that Yu-Gi-Oh is just really it's really hard to like explain some of the mechanics in this game. Also video really interested about the deck cost idea, wondering how feasible I'm wondering how feasible it would be to implement a system that assigns and updates a cost value for each card in the game, maybe based on public game data, the current meta, by Lilium724. And this is something that like again, like a big reason why I made this video was because I was thinking about deck cost. I made a post, or like I was talking on Reddit about deck cost because I thought it was a really good idea. And Reddit being Reddit, they were all like, that's the stupidest idea I've ever heard. Like that wouldn't work, blah, 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 blah. As people up there do. And I like a big reason that people were saying, oh, it wouldn't work was because like, oh, Konami doesn't have the ability to implement such a thing. I don't think that's necessarily true. I feel like number one, that's like a Konami thing to worry about because like, you know, if Konami decides, oh, I'm going to do deck costs, they'll figure out a way to like make it work. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, don't worry about that. Like like only worry about whether or not it would be a good idea or not. And as far as like how they could implement it, I feel like they have Master Duel, right? So Master Duel has like so much, like they have so much data on how people play the game, like more data than they've ever had at any point ever in like the history of the game. And like, I feel like using that data, it would be like, you know, using that data, you can use AI or something like that. I don't know how good of an idea it would be, but like you can use there are a lot of tools to like to kind of make this happen. And as like a game mode, like a non-ranked game mode to start off to like test the waters or like even like a dual trial kind of thing, I think that would be like an amazing way to kind of roll this out. I really don't understand why Konami doesn't have like game modes. Like I don't understand why like there's only one way to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Whereas like, you know, other card games have like tons of different formats, but Yu-Gi-Oh! Is just like, no, there's only one way to play, which that's in my opinion, that's the weirdest thing about Yu-Gi-Oh! Like I don't have a problem other than that. JDubs2163 says, whoa, that's my dinosaur combo sheet that I made for Master Duel's release. Crazy to see it again. Thank you so much for making that sheet. When editing the video, I was like, okay, I need a visual to explain how complex Yu-Gi-Oh! Combos are. And I think that was like one of the first things that popped up on Google. So I'm like, yep, I'm using that one. It's a really good combo. I don't play dinosaurs, but if I did, I would probably be using that sheet. So doing the Lord's work, my guy. I'll have to go back and see I'll have to go back and check what music I used, because I honestly do not remember. Most important Yu-Gi-Oh! Video of the year. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. I don't play Yu-Gi-Oh! Anymore, but these kinds of videos are always enjoyable. Thank you for tuning in. I sincerely appreciate that. I was not prepared for that fusion example. Okay, so like, if you remember in that video, at the part where I talk about how to do fusion summons, I do like the whole Nina and Alexander thing from Full Metal Alchemist. And I don't like, I was like I was like, yo, like how can I show how fusions work? And I think like a meme had just come up about like FMA, and I was like, okay, you know what? I think this will be really funny. So I just put it in there. Eduardo, you know, like Out of Character says, the editing list is really excellent. Thank you so much. We'll bring up about Yu-Gi-Oh! OCG and Master Duel being really popular, even though their formats include Max C is interesting. I would be curious about what people in the OCG think of it, and its presence is a positive force in the game since it's largely gone from a controversial card to okay. So he's basically saying that like I wonder how like the OCG feels about Max C, and like what like the OCG doesn't like Maxi either. You know, I feel like most players when like they're dealing with Maxi, it's like they don't love the card, like they don't champion it. It's like I feel like most OCG players like understand why the card is there, but like it's not like they like seeing it, you know, because of its being ubiquitous. It's like do you like doing the dishes? You know what I'm saying? It's like after you eat, do you like doing the dishes? Because it's one of those things where like nobody likes to do the dishes, but like you understand that like, okay, if I don't do the dishes, I'm going to have Max C's in my house. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I like no one likes Max. Even people who like Max C don't like Max C. It's funny, when I was playing in the Duel Cafe, I met a Japanese like an OCG player, and he was like coming through and talking about, you know, the TCG and how it's different and everything like that. And he was like, oh wow, okay, no Max C, that's kind of cool. That guy hasn't logged on since I've been in the Duel Cafe. I hope I run into him again. He taught me some interesting Japanese stuff. 444 it's Benny said, a bit of a body question, but what fighting game is that? That is, I believe, Super Street Fighter 6. Do not quote me on that. It's one of the Street Fighters. Something you can quote me on. I like Street Fighter. Oh, excuse me. I think Street Fighter is the best fighting game. I like Smash a bit more, but I think that like between like Tekken, Mortal Kombat, and Street Fighter is like easily my favorite. I think it's like one of the, I think, don't quote me on it, I feel like it's like the OG fighting game. I knew it was gonna be Max C. Glad the video opens with it instead of a build up. Yeah, I feel like videos that like make you like, I do like videos with mystery, but I don't feel like you should like hold your viewers hostage. Like when a person clicks on a video, I feel like holding them hostage and holding the information hostage is kind of like low hanging fruit. I feel like it's kind of scummy. Like if a person clicks on a video, like tell them what they want to know and then like make them stay for another reason, you know? Like I don't believe in holding people hostage in videos. My grandson said it's time to resolve your going first combo you started 43 years ago, Dylan, from Prince Goat Cheese 9379. Yeah. Yeah. I have like war flashbacks every time I think about like playing Yu-Gi-Oh! How did you even find old footage of people talking about Max C on release? The grain of the camera just brings back that early 2010s nostalgia. Great vid, written so damn well. Thank you very much. That's Frito19. I spent a lot of time on YouTube just like going through old videos. Like I'll look up a search term and then like I'll just like go through like just video after video after video. I have a playlist of old Yu-Gi-Oh videos that I've just acquired over time whenever I'm like interested in like making a video. I just think that's kind of cool. I think like old YouTube videos are becoming the new like black and white videos that you'll see in like documentaries. Oh, my battery's dying. I'll be fine. I ga komine. So I got Kamine is basically talking about the Link evolution, which is, I guess, a format in 2019. And I was not playing Yu-Gi-Oh! This time, so I don't remember anything about this format. But one thing I want to point out here is that this is another case of a person being like, oh, I like this format of Yu-Gi-Oh! Before this power creep. The issue of it's just like, dude, like so many people like to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Differently. Like there's so many different like time capsule formats. It's just like, I wish Konami would just like, and Master Duel, just allow different formats, like allow people to play the deck cost variant, allow people to play goat format, allow people to play like all these different formats. And I don't get why they don't do that, because it's like at the end of the day it'll bring more people back to the game, you know, more people will play. If a person wants to just play goat format and that's just what they want to do, why can't they do that? You know, it's like, I don't know, I feel like it's kind of weird. What about a format where every card is legal but you can have 3 copies of only 1 card? And I guess that could be fun. Yeah, I mean, like it's like it sounds like a homebrew kind of format going on. I'm really sorry to say this and I hope I'm wrong, but I live in Tokyo, and though I did go to a shop in Akihabara, there's just Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Most stores have mostly Pokemon cards, and I've seen Magic cards a lot at stores. So in Japan, Pokemon has always been more popular than Yu-Gi-Oh! Pokemon is the most, like by bulk volume, the most popular card game in the world, because you just make a lot of money with Pokemon cards. Not as many people play the Pokemon trading card game, but a lot of people collect Pokemon cards. Like the whole like Logan Paul thing, I don't think he plays the Pokemon TCG, but I do think he has cards. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I feel like, I'm not saying Yu-Gi-Oh! Is the most popular TCG, like the most popular trading card game out in Japan. I am saying it is more popular than it is here in America. So I believe it's still top. It's still like pretty high ranking. Yu-Gi-Oh! Has the OCG stories coming out soon, which is like it's kind of like they made an anime out of all the lore in all of the cards, which I think is like, I think Yu-Gi-Oh! Needed to do a long time ago. The lore of certain like card sets is actually so much more interesting than like, you know, people who play Yu-Gi-Oh! You know what I'm saying? Like all of the anime so far have been cool. You know, if you think about something like Arcane, right? Arcane is a super popular TV show based on a game, right? But Arcane is like, it's not about people playing League of Legends like the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime is. Arcane is about the people in that world doing things. There's actually like a League of Legends documentary called Players, and that's about people playing League of Legends. That is like, no one watched that. It's really good, by the way. I don't play League of Legends like that. I only play because I liked Arcane, but that was actually really good. It's actually criminally slept on. Like if you have any time, it's like eight episodes long. It's actually really good. Like it has no business being as good as it is. It's by the same people who did American Vandal on Netflix, if you've ever seen that. So anyway, why not make a counter for Maxi that severely burns the opponent for every extra card drawn, 1,000 life points per? Well, because then like the going first person would just win the duel. Like it is so easy to special summon 8 times in this game. Like it's like even like more like conservative decks that don't special summon too much can easily special summon like 8 times in a duel. The reason why Maxi exists is because like combos in Yu-Gi-Oh are too long. Like we're like I feel like people get into like gameplay and things like that and are like, oh, it's an oppressive card, and it's like, yeah, I get that, but at the same time, like sometimes I'll be working and I'll take a break, right? So I'm like, okay, let me just open up Yu-Gi-Oh real quick and play a game because I want to play this. I like Yu-Gi-Oh. I'm gonna play this. I lose a coin toss, end up going second, and I sit there for like my entire break, like not even exaggerating, my entire break watching another person play. And it's like when it's finally my turn, I'm like, okay, I try to do something and I brick and I instantly lose. So I just wasted my entire break watching someone else have fun. You know what I'm saying? It's like at that point, why don't I open up any other game? You know, it's like, why don't I play League of Legends? Why don't I play, like literally any other game, you know, a mobile game or whatever. Maxi kind of exists to punish people who like take a really long time to play. And that is the thing that I think people don't understand. Like when you get to the competitive level, like you kind of sign up for people like playing at their highest level, trying to win at all costs. But like, I feel like 90% of the time people don't really want to watch they don't really want to watch like the 20 part like hero combo, you know? The deck cost concept reminds me a lot of the shared limits in Duel Links, which are a sort of step in that direction. I've never played Duel Links, which I probably should. By the way, I think there's like a problem with like Duel Links and like Speed Duel and Rush Duel and all these like smaller formats of Yu-Gi-Oh that Konami is trying to like do to like help with like the complexity issue in like in the game. I feel like it's not gaining traction because of like a PR issue. Like it's like a marketing issue, right? For a lot of people who are like, a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh's like potential player base is like returning players. And if you're a returning player, you don't want to play Rush Duel. You don't want to play Speed Duel. You don't want to play Duel Links. You want to play Yu-Gi-Oh. Like, you feel me? Like, you want to play that game. Like, for me, that's why I never got into, like, Rush Duel or Speed Duel or Duel Links, because it's like, that's not Yu-Gi-Oh. That's not regular Yu-Gi-Oh. It's like, these are, like, different versions of the game. As it stands now, I feel like Rush Duel and Speed Duel is more like what we, like, regular Yu-Gi-Oh with how combos go and, like, how much people do in the game. That feels more like a Speed Duel than, like, you know, GOAT format Yu-Gi-Oh. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't know. I feel like they need to change the name and kind of like move differently so that people start playing it. You know what I'm saying? It's a naming issue for sure. Nina Alexander was absolutely an insane reference, and I'd do it again. Who's up for a hand trip that bans a random extra deck card for each special summon? I feel like that's just like Dogmatica. Dogmatica is like, you're not allowed to touch your extra deck. I hate the extra deck. Stop playing your extra deck. Screaming Maxi is fine to the mountain god won't make Maxi fine. It's just too oppressive. I would love to know where you shot that scene at though. It's a gorgeous view. I was in Shambalak, Kazakhstan. I was on vacation in Kazakhstan over the summer and I was thinking about making this video. And I was like, why don't I just like shoot it while I'm there? My camera setup is actually like super lightweight. So I was all right. I'm just gonna go shoot while I'm in the mountains. Would highly recommend Kazakhstan, by the way. It is one of the most beautiful countries I've ever been to. Everything is super cheap. You can go to like a 5-star restaurant and spend like $8. Like I'm just like you spend like no money and you get like the portions are amazing. It's so good. Also, another really funny thing is while I was in Kazakhstan, like they don't like, a lot of people haven't seen like black people like that. So like it was so funny because like people would like walk up to me and be like, bro, photo, bro, take photo. And like people would like stop me and try to get like photos with me and everything. There was literally one point where someone like walked up to me and like didn't even ask, just like pulled out their phone and just like started taking selfies next to me and like didn't say a word to me. And I'm like, dude, like that's really weird. Like that would get you like punched in the US. Okay, Olga Zucati says, also don't really agree that Maxi is more control oriented because Maxi managed to duel. And very recently, in fact, okay, so this comment is basically saying that like, oh, like there are another couple comments here that say kind of the same thing, where it's like the OCG isn't control oriented, like I had said in the video, and like yes, combo decks are still popular in the OCG, like kind of like the same archetypes are popular in both formats. But what specifically I mean is that both decks, like both styles of play, build their decks differently, right? Like because Maxi exists in the TCG. It's because Maxi does not exist in the TCG, people just like build without that in mind. They just build their deck to go like full combo and that like they don't have to worry about Maxi. However, in the OCG, decks are built differently because they do have to worry about Maxi. So it's like, okay, I need to, you know, a lot of the times you need like a plan B. You know, if they can't, you know, go into their combo because their opponent like resolved the max C, well, okay, what can I do? What other line can I go into to get around that? And I think that that's something that the OCG has adapted to, and that's something a lot of players do in order to like work with that. It's not like every deck in the OCG is like runic stun or something like that. It's more so like, okay, if are you playing like full combo branded, or are you playing like a slightly more conservative control branded, if that makes sense. So Ragnarok 540 says, the reason I think Max C is not good for the game is how it warps deck building around it. After a certain rank in Master Duel, almost everyone plays all 3 copies. They can of it, and also the possible counters. So yeah, that's one of the reasons why I don't like Max C. It's not even that like I don't, it's just like it's everywhere. You know, it's like every deck plays it. And I think that's probably, I talked about this in the video, how it's like, it's just kind of boring how like every deck will play Max C. Fun fact, I'm actually master rank in, not this season, but I was master rank in Master Duel. And I didn't run a single copy of Max C. I play a rogue deck, and I was master 5, with my rogue deck. I would have climbed higher, but like the season ended like right when I hit master. I do not use Max C. And it's because like I wanted to play a deck that can play without having to worry about that. TCG players turn this game into pay to win solitaire. I will not disagree with that. Pro legit went outside to talk about Max C. Hell yeah, I did. Great video, but I feel like I need to point out a couple mistakes and subsequent assumptions. OCG isn't just in Japan, but also East Asia and Southeast Asia. Also, TCG isn't just North America, but also all of Europe. South America most. So the comment is talking about how like in the video I said the TCG was America and the OCG is Japan. Spoiler, I know that. I'm aware that more places play the TCG and the OCG. I think I just kind of like refer to it that way because like the TCG, like Upper Deck Games, the company that was like running the TCG before its divorce from Konami, they were like a California based company. So it's like the TCG kind of originated in America and the OCG originated in Japan. So it's like the headquarters of both places was in America and Japan. So like the people in those countries were making the decisions. Obviously now after the thing with Upper Deck, it's like all Konami of Japan making all these decisions. But all right, I think about that about does it for this vid. I'm going to actually go to another video. I'm going to be going to my Yu-Gi-Oh's new player problem video that also had a lot of comments. Thank you again so much for 50k views on that. Like again, this video was me just talking about how Yu-Gi-Oh has a problem getting new players and the current state of the game and everything like that. Definitely check it out if you haven't seen it. History King 9984 says, I think the lack of an anime in recent years really hurts people. And I agree 100%. A lot of the reason why people played Yu-Gi-Oh, the reason why I picked up the game, the reason why all of my friends picked up the game is that they watched the anime, they were inspired to play the game. And it's like, you feel like the characters. I completely agree. Who has enough money for groceries and cards nowadays? P.S. Make sure you always use a white outline on text. It's much easier to read. Thanks for the tip. Simplicity is something that Yu-Gi-Oh actually had going for it back when it was first coming out. I remember my buddy trying to teach me Magic the Gathering, telling him it's too complicated. I'll stick with Yu-Gi-Oh! And now it's the opposite and worse. Now it's oppressive. Yeah, I think that Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a very complicated game. If you talk to literally anybody about Yu-Gi-Oh!, they're like, it's a hard game. Which, yeah, it kind of is. It's a hard game to play. I kind of like the complexity personally, but brother, I don't know much about this game, but I respect the shirt. Where can I get drip like that? I got that shirt from that video. It's there's this little shop in Little Tokyo. I live in Los Angeles, but there's a little shop in Little Tokyo that has like all of the shirts are all the shirts are made by like local artists. So if y'all want one, shoot, I can do a giveaway. I can go like pick one up and do a giveaway or something like that. I think that'd be cool. Raffle Cannon 6 says, I'm a longtime Magic the Gathering player and gave Yu-Gi-Oh! A chance because my friends love the game. I had zero idea what was going on. Pretty much had to study the deck I built. Even after that, there's a video where someone described Yu-Gi-Oh! Player. Yes, so one of the biggest issues, so he's basically saying that like one of the issues with Yu-Gi-Oh! Is that like when you're playing a fighting game, you can kind of like see your mistakes and where they are. In Yu-Gi-Oh! Like you'll lose and have no idea why you lost. And honestly, I think a big reason for that is the player base. Like when I play the TCG, when I'm not playing like, you know, YCS in a competitive setting, right? And I'm playing against friends, I tell them what every single one of my cards does. I tell them how to break my board. I tell them like, oh, do this and you can win the game, because I feel like that is conducive to fun gameplay. I feel like when you like put your cards down and kind of just hope your opponent doesn't figure it out, it's like kind of boring. Like remember in the anime, right? People would literally just like scream out what their cards do. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's how to play the game. I don't like people who are like, who kind of like are like smug and like don't like talk to you when they're playing the game. It's almost like, dude, like it's a fucking card game. Like, I don't know, like chill out. This is definitely a topic that can use a longer video, but this is still great. And would love to see you touch on the subject more. I'm somebody who's tried getting back to Yu-Gi-Oh. This is Nukalulu, by the way. He's basically saying that like Yu-Gi-Oh is like super complicated. It's like you'll play a game, get absolutely demolished, and then it's like, well, okay, like what now? And again, I think a big reason for this is like the Yu-Gi-Oh community. It's like the game is super complicated, and it's like it only will kind of work if like players are actively teaching as they play, right? It's like, oh, that's a misplay, that's a misplay, but not like in an annoying way, not like, oh, like you're dumb, like in a way there it's like, oh yeah, like by the way, this, like you have to kill this to like break my board and stuff like that. And I feel like Yu-Gi-Oh players like kind of don't do that. They're almost like the Yu-Gi-Oh community is like kind of like jaded a lot of the time. They're like a lot like very like, I defeated your board, you can't do anything. Like I don't know. I feel like people who play like that are kind of cringe personally, but I definitely think Yu-Gi-Oh just suffers from like the community being somewhat unwelcoming to new players because of its complexity. Like even in this video, right? A lot of people so one person that I interviewed was like, oh, I would love to get back into Yu-Gi-Oh, but the problem is that like it's a very scary game. I don't want to misplay and someone like make me feel like I'm dumb for not understanding this game that like no one understands how to play except people who already know how to play. I don't know. It's just one of those things. No one hates the game more than the people who play it, and yet we continue on. Yeah, I don't understand why Yu-Gi-Oh players hate Yu-Gi-Oh. I don't understand why. I personally really like the game. I personally think it's really fun. It's not perfect. It like definitely like has its issues, but like I don't know, dude. I think it's really fun. I like Yu-Gi-Oh. I think the card art's cool. When it comes to like things like Magic the Gathering, like I think Magic is like cool, but like the cards don't like speak to me like Yu-Gi-Oh cards do. So at a teddy bear 1392 says the frustrating part is how long some people's turns will take. Like, oh my god, I swear it'll be 5 minutes, and it's like all that time and 10 cards in the graveyard, 3 cards banished. Yeah, people play really long in this game. Thank you for the subscription, Christopher. Wait, let me just do this. That's so much better. Thank you for this. Thank you for the subscription, Christopher colon. Appreciate you. I decided to buy physical decks with the 2 friends last month, and we still have lots of fun between us, but online I don't even understand what's. Yeah, and I think Lorenzo Fortunato 388 says he's basically saying that like, yeah, when playing with friends, Yu-Gi-Oh is fun, but like playing online, it's like not as fun. And I think a big reason for that is like, it's like when you play with a friend in real life, like you kind of have more like it kind of almost promotes a friendlier game, right? It's like when I'm playing against like someone online, right? I can't see their face. I can't see how they're reacting. I can't see any of this stuff. When I'm playing against somebody like over the table, right? I can see their feelings. I can see how they're reacting. And it's like online, it's much easier to be ruthless. It's much easier to just like murder somebody because like you don't care how they feel. It's like that doesn't matter to you. But like, you know, when you're playing against a friend, someone you care about, it's like, okay, suddenly like, let's not try to destroy each other. Let's just try to have a game where we play a similar power level and just try to win. You know what I'm saying? Like him, you can play Yu-Gi-Oh in VR. Me, you never saw this coming. I summon Pot of Greed. If I had $1 for every time somebody summoned Pot of Greed. If you're jumping in after a little time, may I recommend getting the Blue Eyes Max Structure deck, not only to use Blue Eyes, but you'll have cards you need to catch up to the meta with it. It's not much of a convoluted mess to play. You know, I've never been much of a Blue Eyes player. And it's not because like I don't like Blue Eyes or anything like that. It's just like growing up, I never like pulled a Blue Eyes. All my friends, like I remember my friend, his name was Dustin. He had a Blue Eyes card, and I couldn't pull it. So like I played other decks because like I couldn't pull Blue Eyes, and from that time on, I just like never played Blue Eyes. I hear they're getting new cards. Like there's like new cards coming to Blue Eyes that might make them like crazy strong or something. So well put together that I'm subbing to a Yu-Gi-Oh channel and I don't play any version. I'm also sending this to a friend who does play. Yes, see, again, this is why I add explanations into my videos. This is why I make them so like top level. This is why I explain everything so people who don't play the game can understand how to play. This is how we get new players. Like what I just said about how players like don't like explaining, like Yu-Gi-Oh players don't like explaining things. Like by me explaining these things and how these things work, it's getting new people to watch Yu-Gi-Oh content and possibly get new players into the game. And it's like it's such like a thing people don't realize that like, oh shoot, let me get people who don't play the game into this game. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like a lot of Yu-Gi-Tubers like they make content that's like for people who already play the game. Like MBT like MBT is cool, but like when I watch his videos, like even like I think I've been playing for like about a year now. And even sometimes when I watch MBT videos, like his like 10-minute testings and 1-minute overview, I'm like they go so fast. I'm like, bro, what are you talking about? It's like inaccessible to people who like don't like live eat, breathe, sleep Yu-Gi-Oh. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I want to make this lower level so it's accessible to people who don't do that, you know? Yeah, the sort of Wacky Woohoo Pizza Man 1290. I like that name. So when it comes to Yu-Gi-Oh community in general, we just need to be more inviting to new players who want to learn and play a game. Yes. We need to be inviting to people who want to play the game. And it's like for whatever way they want to play the game. If they want to play GOAT format, let them play GOAT format. Play GOAT format. If they want to play Edison, let them play Edison. If they want to literally play a pile of monsters, just do that. Like I don't know. If you want people to play the game, you have to be nice. You know, be nice, be friendly. Stop trying to win. Like literally, I feel like if the Yu-Gi-Oh community would like stop trying to win and start trying to like make friends, like it wouldn't be like it. Like people wouldn't be so like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. Regarding the code thing, chaotic cards actually have a code that used to be to bring your cards in online play. Yeah, this is in reference to me talking about how like you like a lot of people consider Master Duel like expensive. And people who play the TCG will immediately be like, no, it's not as expensive as the real life card game. I don't buy expensive decks because I'm not spending that much money on like cardboard. If I'm gonna play an expensive deck, like I'm gonna buy a box set and try to just pull it. You know, I feel like pulling a deck is so much more rewarding than like buying a deck like outright. A lot of people are like, oh, like Master Duel is actually a lot more giving than most other gachas, and that like Master Duel like will give you a lot more to like make your decks with. And I think this is kind of true. It's like a yes and no kind of thing, where it's like in Master Duel, yes, you technically get like the higher rarity pulls much more often than you will in like games like Genshin Impact or something like that. But in a gacha game like Genshin Impact, right, you'll pull a legendary character and you can play that character, right? That's like you have the character, right? If you pull an ultra rare card as part of like a deck archetype or whatever, you still need to pull like 12 more ultra rare cards to play that deck the way it's like recommended to play or anything like that. So it's like, sure, it technically gives you more cards, but like you need more of those high rarity pulls to play the deck at all. You know what I'm saying? So it's like kind of, it still ends up being like you grind a lot for these gems and things like that. It's probably cheaper than playing in TCG, but it's still like not like people act like it's like yeah, it's whatever, bro. Like, not everyone got it like that, dog. Not everyone's rich like that, dog. I think one of the biggest problems that Yu-Gi-Oh suffers from is the lack of universal format. If you were a Master player, your entire format is different from the TCG and OCG. Completely banned and ridiculous. You should have different yeah, so again, the OCG, TCG, and Master Duel are 3 different formats. It kind of suffers from like, you know, it being not uniform. I actually think they're trying to fix this very soon. I think they're trying to unify the ban list. Something I could do a whole video on, but I think that does it for that video. I'm gonna do another video now. I'll go into No Yu-Gi-Oh isn't dying. This is my video on like the Yu-Gi-Oh community and how people like every 5 minutes will be like, oh, Yu-Gi-Oh's dying, Yu-Gi-Oh's gonna die. My boy Yuno says my local OTS just had another announced yesterday that there will be less Yu-Gi-Oh locals not due to not having enough players. And yeah, that is a thing that's happening right now, where it's like I feel like a lot of people are reporting that like, oh, like my locals has a lot less players and things like that. I'm not really surprised. And I feel like Yu-Gi-Oh is moving much more towards like online play. Let's say remote duel, Master Duel, like the like VR Yu-Gi-Oh. I believe Team APS had a video about this because like, you know, it just seems to be the direction that Yu-Gi-Oh is moving into. I feel like this has to do with A, like the issue with new players. B, just like I feel like there's a bigger issue of like third places kind of disappearing. And if you're not familiar with like the third place disappearing, it's like a place that's not your job, that's not your house. So like for a lot of people that was like their church or their like their local game spot or like, you know, their recreation center. Like these places are becoming harder and harder to find. Like a free place to go to hang out, just like those are becoming rare. So I'm not surprised that like it's affecting like, you know, Yu-Gi-Oh locals as well. There are quite a few locals like where I live. It depends on where you are, and also like there's definitely like online play. The negativity going around really hurts, though I have to say I haven't been the most positive about the game myself. Burnt out from 10 months Snake Eye Terror. I hope the game will be more enjoyable again soon. This kind of happened with me too, where like I had a lot of fun for a couple formats, formats for a couple ban lists. One ban list came out and I was like, okay, I don't want to play this, so I kind of like stepped away from it and focused more on the lore for a while. And I'm like, now I'm back in it, and I'm like, oh, I'm having fun again. So it's like, I feel like it just depends on the format. Some formats are more enjoyable to you, some formats aren't. It just kind of depends. Brawl Bregard B says, man, I think you're doing the right thing, crushing the negativity of a hobby, slowly fading away with proof of it coming back again. Yeah, man, everyone's just so negative all the time. Like, let's be homies, let's be happy. Like, you know, the world isn't like, we're chilling, we're having a good time, you know what I'm saying? So, all right, next up, I think we're just gonna do the most annoying Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and this is a really short video on just cards I think are annoying in the meta. It was kind of a more experimental video. You can see here like the wait, let me actually pause this. You can see here how like I'm outside with like the black bars on the top and bottom and everything like that. I was just like testing out like format ideas, and I thought this would be fun. This was just a top 10 cards that I think are annoying in the meta, in one of the most previous metas. Die Galore says, yeah, I hate the Sky Striker Anchor. I hate that card so much. If you ever played against Sky Strikers, it's a card that will either it will negate your monster's abilities or it will steal your opponent's monsters. And it's not once per turn. Like it's you can keep doing it. So I can't pronounce this, but this comment here says I love this video. Funny thing about this though is that this is like I'm pretty sure this is a bot account, because if you click on it, it's got like a ton of subscribers, but like if you go to the page, it's like it's a lot of like bot content. I watched one of the videos, so I was like, who is this? Yeah, I don't know. I feel like this guy's just like farming comments by like commenting on smaller YouTube channels and then being like, oh, I love this video, to get them to go to his channel, which I think is kind of scummy low-key. But Young Shark says, great video, interesting how you got Young Shark says, great video, thank you so much. Interesting how you got the idea to make this video. I definitely don't agree with the Phantom of Yubel take, since I'm a Yubel player. Since I'm a fan of Yubel player. I also feel like your sentiment of refusing to play like the most popular decks. I also feel your sentiment of refusing to play like the most popular decks, archetypes, or cards. Even I'm a special potato. So in the video I was talking about the Phantom of Yubel and how it is a stupidly overpowered card. It kind of special summons itself from nothing. You shuffle back into the deck 2 cards of the same type. They don't have to be on the field. They can be in your hand. They can be in the graveyard, and it just summons itself into the field, and it is a free negate. It is a very overpowered card. It's too easy to get on the field, and it's also like not once per turn, so I'm not the biggest fan of it. It seems like Konami kind of agreed with that because they have limited the card since then, and it was an annoying card. But yeah, I do not like playing any decks that are meta, because like I feel like if you play Yu-Gi-Oh and you only play the decks the way that you're told to play, I feel like that loses some of the fun. I think like the fun part of Yu-Gi-Oh is like playing weird decks and making them work somehow. You know, it's like a problem solving thing. I think it's really fun. Love Yubel, hate Phantom. Nice video. Thank you, Yubel. Thank you. Yubel sucks. I cannot stand Phantom of Yubel. I tend to run a lot of 4/5 spam decks, so that turn 2 Maxi is easily the single most annoying thing in the game to me, because I can call it almost every damn time. Maxi is very annoying because of how ubiquitous it is. 100%. Ultimate Falcon TF. Yeah, Ultimate Falcon is an annoying card because it is immune to all card effects. Specifically, I run decks that don't have like really high, that don't get super high like attack value monsters onto the field. So Ultimate Falcon is an especially hard card for me personally to deal with a lot of the decks that I run. And also, like, Raid Raptor turns take forever. Like, literally, they just spam the board for, like, 15 minutes and then, like, end up with Ultimate Falcon. You know what I'm saying? So it's, like, it's just a really long combo to end on a card that just doesn't, like, you can't do anything against. Brewcoon says, you're so right. Thank you so much. Ash Blossom, clearly the most broken card in Yu-Gi-Oh! Free random negate, discarding itself is not a cost. Monsters with negation effects inherently hurt the game. Leave that to counter trap. Yu-Gi-Oh! Needs curation. I've seen a lot of people say that Ash Blossom and hand traps in general are the problem with Yu-Gi-Oh! And I kind of disagree with that. I feel like hand traps allow for some turn for like when it's not, if you go second, it allows for some interaction. And it's not like player 1 can just play forever and have no response to anything, right? Hand traps are fine. Ash Blossom is 100% fine. I think most people will agree that Ash Blossom isn't too much of an issue. Like, don't get me wrong, it's like annoying to like be trying to play the game and be ashed. Like, yeah, it's annoying, but at the same time, like, you can play counters to it, you can play called by, you can play cross out. And again, having an out doesn't mean that the card isn't broken, but I feel like there's enough in the game to play around it such that it's fine. I feel like Ash Blossom is completely fine, personally. And that is all the comments in this video. So next up, we're going to go to my I Need Advice video. I don't want to spend too much time on this because this was kind of a different video. So basically, like, with this whole like YouTube thing, I didn't know if I wanted to keep making Yu-Gi-Oh content, because I like have a lot of other things that I want to do outside of Yu-Gi-Oh, and this video kind of was like, hey guys, I don't know what to do. And most of the comments here were just like really supportive and telling me like, yo, just do whatever you want. And I sincerely appreciate that. And again, I don't want to like spend too much time on this, but I appreciate everything everyone said here. And I'm just going to make what I want. And I hope that like it works out. If it doesn't, oh well. But yeah, appreciate all the support I got there. Next one I'm going to go to is presidential decks. And this one was very funny because I had the idea. I think I want to continue the series where I kind of do like I have a lot of ideas to continue the series. Like what decks would specific people run. I'm actually planning on doing quite a few of those. The idea on this was if these people played Yu-Gi-Oh, what decks would they run? And the most like important people in the news at that moment were the presidential candidates, and I think that's kind of fun. Thank you for being chill and not taking sides. Yeah, I'm not. This is not a political channel, and it never will be. Not sure about having music play throughout the video. Let me know what y'all think. So I'm still experimenting with like having music playing in videos. Like I don't know if it's a good thing, if it's a bad thing, like how it works out. And I'm kind of figuring out where to place music and where not to place music. Definitely in videos like this where I'm kind of just like talking to you. Definitely videos like this where I'm just kind of like talking to the camera. I don't think I'm going to be adding music to that because I feel like it's almost distracting. But like kind of like more video essay kind of videos where I'm like kind of like making an experience, like then I'll put music in. As a DDD player, I can confirm that no one knows what we're cooking but us. They just shut off after 15 minutes when our combo is halfway done for a spell trap negate and 2 special summon negates with no protection. What? No way! Oh my god! What? Yo! Oh my gosh! Hang on, I gotta pause real quick. Oh my gosh, that is crazy. Okay, sorry about that. I had a second because Simu, who's like a massive Yu-Gi-Oh YouTuber, just reposted my video, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like. Anyway, thank you so much, bro. I sincerely appreciate that. Wow, I did not. Yeah, wow. I think that's a good enough sign that I should keep making these kinds of videos. So, all right, getting back into this, you should make a video about what decks the 2020 Democratic Party would play. I don't think I'm gonna like stick to politics. The only reason I did like that one video that was like it's just because they were popular at the time. That's only the real reason. But I do plan on continuing this kind of video. Biden Barrel Dragon and Biden Trap Tricks. Yeah. Trump playing Barrel Dragon is actually hilarious. I cannot even lie to you. Yeah, I commented, oh my god. Yeah, I feel like Trump would run some kind of deck focused around the pot card, especially Pot of Greed, even though it's banned, and Biden would use some kind of zombie deck like Skull Surf. That's actually really good. I think I commented on this one too. Yeah. Trump running pot cards is actually hilarious. All right, next video, we're gonna go to how to get back into Yu-Gi-Oh! And this one had some comments too. And this video was essentially it wasn't like a step-by-step guide on how to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Or anything like that. It was just like me sharing my story of how I got back into it last year. I had a lot of fun with it, and I made a whole YouTube channel based off of it. So Hexy9595 says, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is the Dark Souls of card games. This is not a joke. They have more similarities than you might think. You are gonna get beaten to the ground for a few weeks straight, even after you learn all the rules, but the second you win, it makes everything worth it. And yeah, that's kind of how I felt. I felt like I was losing over and over again, and then like when I finally started to get a couple wins, like that made everything feel like it was worth it. I do think Yu-Gi-Oh! Can be a very rewarding game. It's a very frustrating game for sure, but also can be very rewarding. So that's why I play it. And not just that. And also the lore is really cool. Like Yu-Gi-Oh! Lore has some of the best lore in a card game I've ever seen. And it's honestly a shame that like more people don't pay attention to it. That's another video that I plan on making, talking about like Yu-Gi-Oh lore and stuff like that. I love your videos and subbed after the first one I saw. I grew up playing Yu-Gi-Oh, Eternal Duelist, Soul, and GBA. Thank you so much for the sub, by the way. I really appreciate it. Question Everywhere 3001. So basically, Question is sharing their story on how they got back into Yu-Gi-Oh. And it sounds really similar to like how I got back into it, and it's just it's really cool to get back into the game. I really think that there is something special about Yu-Gi-Oh, and it's why I play the game. Appreciate that comment. Question. Roundabout says I fuck with this content heavy. Also, your mom was into Yu-Gi-Oh. That's cool as fuck. Also keep up the drippy fits up. You look fire. No homo. Hey, thanks, homie. You know, hey, thanks, homie, you know? Yeah, actually, my mom, was the one who got me my very first Yu-Gi-Oh video game, and she didn't get it for me, she got it for her. I remember when we were kids, we were staying at, like, some hotel, I forget what we were staying at the hotel for, and Yu-Gi-Oh was just on the TV, like, we didn't switch to or anything like that, and, you know, me and my brothers were like, oh, my mom probably doesn't want to watch this, and we were about to change the channel, my mom was like, no! Keep that on. This is kind of fun. My mom was like, keep that on. This is kind of fire. And I'm like, okay, I see. You know, it was like, then she bought the video game after that. And it was like, I'm pretty sure my mom does not remember this, but this is like ingrained into my head. Bro, Yu-Gi-Oh! World Championship 2008 is my most played Yu-Gi-Oh! Game because I couldn't do synchros like that. Heavy fun game, playing it now too. Nice. Yu-Gi-Oh! Championship 2008 is like an insanely good game. Like there's something about it that's just kind of addicting. In this video, I talked about how like I got an emulation system. Super cool, by the way. I love these devices. And it plays all these different systems. PS2 literally plays like every system. And out of all of the library and hundreds of games that I could play, the game I had the most time in was Yu-Gi-Oh! Championship 2008 because the game is good. The game is just really good. So, I got Kumine. Oh, what's up, I got Kumine? Says, I recommend Yu-Gi-Oh! Capsule Monsters on the PS2 as well. Great game. For your phone, PPSP Tag Force game is amazing. I will check those out. I will 100% check those out. I didn't even know Capsule Monsters was a thing. I'll check it out. Jack Bandit says, funny thing is, that's basically how I got back. I started playing Snake Eyes because I pulled Dia Bellstars and I really like her. I really like Dia Bellstar. Like, the Dia Bellstar lore, like the Snake Eye White Forest lore is actually really cool. It's up there with the Fallen of Albaz lore for me. Definitely check it out if you haven't seen it so far. I love Dia Bellstar lore. Unfortunately for me, like I refuse to play decks that are super meta. So like even if the deck like I'm super interested in, if it becomes popular, I'll just refuse to play it. Like I remember I started building a White Forest deck and then like everyone started playing White Forest and I'm like, all right, I guess I can't play White Forest. So ultimately I decided to try Battling Boxers to work since one of my favorite archetypes in high school. I didn't even know Battling Boxers was that old. That's where Infernoble comes in. This is like, okay, and like this is a really cool story. Like I love stories like this where it's like you pull a card, you play a meta deck, and you find a deck that you like, and you just experiment and try to make it work. Like I feel like this is like the special part of Yu-Gi-Oh! Like stuff like this. I when I think about like stories like this, it's like, oh, this is why like I made this YouTube channel. This is why I love this game. You know what I'm saying? So I want to heart that. Danielle Goodwin 0042 says, just now getting back into it. My brother got back into it 10 years ago and challenged me to a duel Christmas year. I was given a year to prep. I have not been spending my time wisely. So yes, Yu-Gi-Oh! Unfortunately is one of those things that's very hard to get into if you don't have like an abundance of time. In one of my Discord servers, I jokingly was like, do you know how unemployed you have to be to like get good at this game? Because like honestly, like you have to like, dude, like you have to devote so much time to like get good at Yu-Gi-Oh! Andrew says, my story of how I got back to the game is interesting, mostly because I never truly left, just left advanced format for a while. Okay, so this is a really cool story of how Andrew got back into the game, and it's essentially like he never really left. He kind of was like, he left the game kind of and was floating around and then got back into the game because like, oh, there's this like this archetype that I like and I'm kind of interested in again. And then you just kind of like, you get back in and it kind of just like everything comes flooding back to you, you know, games like Duel Links or Master Duels, you know, it's like, it's super cool. It's like, for me, it's kind of like Minecraft. Like Minecraft, I'll go through periods where like I'll play it nonstop. Like my whole personality is Minecraft, and then I'm like, all right, I'm done with Minecraft, and I'll stop playing it for a while. Then a couple years later, I'm like, wait a second, I love Minecraft, and I'll just play again. I feel like that it's very similar in this regard. It's subs 316 says, if anyone's genuinely trying to get into Yu-Gi-Oh right now, I think you picked a bad time. I don't think so. I think that right now Yu-Gi-Oh has a lot of potential right now. Like, there is like a renaissance of Yu-Gi-Oh content creators. There is the OCG stories coming out soon. There is like the Yu-Gi-Oh VR game coming out soon. It's like, if you think about purely from the competitive scene, sure, I get what you're saying, but like I feel like there's so much like happening, like these little things happening in the Yu-Gi-Oh community that like, I don't know. I feel like it could be interesting to stick around and see what happens. So just reached the end of the video now. Should have waited to comment. I got back into Yu-Gi-Oh because I like most Yu-Gi-Tubers. Yeah, you see, that's another reason why I wanted to play. Like, because like I wanted to make this channel because like I feel like the amount of Yu-Gi-Oh content that is like out there if you dig for it, like in comparison to how many like YouTubers and people have like talked about it, is like there's so much information in there, and like there's so many, like the iceberg of Yu-Gi-Oh is so much deeper than like a lot of people realize. So like, I don't know, I feel like I want to make content like this to get people into the game, to get people interested, outside the times where Yu-Gi-Oh allows for floodgate light effects, like reach one card combos or occasional FTKs. I think the game is seriously fun. I have no idea why people complain so hard. I guess people complain about Dark Souls, Elden Ring too, so it's surprising away. People want to play older Yu-Gi-Oh, then all they have to do is make some friends and play older Yu-Gi-Oh with them. People are just realistically complaining about their social skills pretty much. And that is another thing. I do think that finding locals in Yu-Gi-Oh is a bit hard because, like, again, with the thing with third spaces and the thing with third places and people finding it, there aren't as many free places you can go to like hang out with people. But I do think that like if you make friends who also are into Yu-Gi-Oh, the game becomes infinitely more fun. The game is like, when you are into like the lore of Yu-Gi-Oh and you're in it to make friends and make connections and talk to other people, the game is infinitely more fun than just playing to win. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's something that a lot of people miss. Ryan Atlas says, GOAT format specifically refers to July 2005, so the more commonly played retro formats out there. If your local cards have hopes Yu-Gi-Oh. I think I misstated like what the actual dates of GOAT format was in the video. I think that Yu-Gi-Oh should embrace more formats, more different formats of play. Konami has like kind of acknowledged with their Time Wizard formats, like GOAT format, and I don't know what they've actually like officially like recognized. They also did it in Mash Duel with one of the, I think it was like one of the duel trials, something like that, where they acknowledged GOAT format. Nothing big, nothing like game changing, and nothing permanent, but they at least are like, you remember this format? What if we did something with it? Which I do think is like a step in the right direction. Love your calm and collected style. Thank you. Don't get me wrong, I love a lot of Yu-Gi tubers, but I think a lot of people in the community are like a bit like they're super high energy. And I kind of just wanted to be like, hey, what's up? I want to talk to you about this children's card game. Would you listen for a little, I don't know. I appreciate it. How to get newbie players to play modern Yu-Gi-Oh. Let them listen to a true dedicated newbie share how they love Yu-Gi-Oh again. Yes, that's why I made the video. I want new people to join the game. This game is so special, dude. Like, I swear this is so special. I'm going to like, I will try my best to be positive at all times. Like, I don't want to be negative. I do not want to be a doomer. I don't want to talk about how Yu-Gi-Oh is dying, because I think the game is doing well, and I want to talk about how the game is doing well. Now I'm done coping. Konami has a long history of being predatory on their player base. I play competitively up until the tail end of Snake Eyes with Senpai. And I feel like therein lies the problem, right? You were playing competitively. And I feel like a lot of people are burned out with competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! And it's like, there's this huge focus on competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! And it's like, maybe like play a lower power level format. Last couple of videos. All right, we're gonna do Yu-Gi-Oh scandal, the Yu-Gi-Oh scandal, and this one was about how way back in YCS back in February, how Team Samurai X1 was disqualified from a match because he said "God damn." I'm not gonna lie, like, looking back on it, I think my sentiment is that like he was warned, and because he continued to do it, he like got disqualified. So it's like those were the rules. However, I do still kind of think that like, I think my upsetness comes from the fact that like Yu-Gi-Oh still kind of treated like a card game, excuse me, that Yu-Gi-Oh still kind of treated like a children's game when like most people who play are like grown adults. I do still see that like, you know, it was kind of unsportsmanship like content, excuse me, it was unsportsmanship like conduct, and like, you know, there are other games that aren't like children's games where it's like if you speak a certain way, like you can get disqualified and things like that. So I mean, rules are the rules. I don't agree with the rules, but like, you know, I feel like that rule should be removed, but like at the same time, he was warned. But video games are cool says, the funny thing is in Japan, kids do play Yu-Gi-Oh! Reason being they're not priced out like they are in the TCG land. Yes, and that speaks to the point I was just making. If I go to Target right now, when I was a kid, you know, I could grab a pack of Yu-Gi-Oh! My mom would buy me like a $5 pack of Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards, and that would be great, right? Nowadays, if I go to Target, there'll be like a pack of Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards for like a day. It'll be stocked for a day, and then some like 30-year-old will come in and buy every single pack of Yu-Gi-Oh cards in the Target. And it's like, you know, these adults are like buying out the thing. These adults are like buying out all the cards, and it's like, you know, I'm not. If you do that, like, please don't do that. Like, if you're an adult, please get your cards online. Get your cards off like Amazon, TCG Player. Like, leave cards in the stores for like kids. You know, leave cards in the store for other people. You need to keep in mind that he was warned and continued to swear. He knew he was going to get some negative consequences, and yet he continued his behavior. Any adult would quickly take note and stop it. Sam is a child and did not. And yeah, I was kind of like talking about this before. Like, I kind of agree. He was told to stop, and he like continued to do it. And rules are rules. Again, I do not agree with the rules, but he did kind of break the rules. So since there is a gap between Japan and the West, in TCG they put the best cards at high rarity. Also, Japanese packs are $1. Also, leftover 2-3 are often half price or often crane game. Yeah, so Yu-Gi-Oh! I do think that like the OCG makes Yu-Gi-Oh! Very much more accessible in Japan. As for why Yu-Gi-Oh! Is more expensive here, I could not tell you. I do feel like a lot of people are very quick to say that it's just because Konami is money hungry and that's the only reason. But I feel like, you know, it might be more to it than just that. Like, I feel like there's more to consider, more that we just don't know. Do I think that some moves do seem kind of money motivated? Yeah, I definitely. But I don't think it's fair to say that, like, just because they want money, that's the reason for all of the problems in Yu-Gi-Oh! I feel like it's a very narrow kind of, like, understanding of, like, all the things that could possibly be going on. Pretty good video. Hope your channel grows, lad. Thank you so much. Keep at it. You deserve more attention for your videos. Thank you. Hey, thank you, homie. I'm just going to try to upload more consistently. I feel bad for the kids who beg their parents to make them Eldritch, only for the deck to be power crop not even a few years after. I've seen some good amount of Eldritch deck profiles from kids online. And there's another thing. Like, you know, power creep, unfortunately, means that, like, a deck that you get won't be competitively viable in a very short amount of time. But the rebuttal to that is like, don't play competitively, which is kind of hard to do. I think like in Master Duel, for example, which I'm going to keep referring because it's the most accessible way to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, you can play ranked, which you kind of sign up to play competitively, or you can play casual, which is not competitive, which is supposed to be not competitive. But the problem with casual in Master Duel is that like people will still play meta decks, A, B, like, because there's no kind of like repercussion to surrendering in casual, what'll often end up happening is like if you play casual and you enter a game state where like you're winning even slightly, it's super common for people to just surrender and move on to the next game. And like that's super common in casual. So it's like, I feel like it's really hard to play. If you don't have friends, it is kind of hard to play Yu-Gi-Oh! In like a non-competitive, like it's really hard to play Yu-Gi-Oh! In like a non-competitive setting. In what world is goddamn considered cursing? Growing up, that was considered a swear for my family. Do I think he should have been disqualified for it? Again, no. But heavy-handed decision, a warning would have been better. Yeah, I agree 100%. He did get a warning, which is the thing that like kind of makes me go, you know. Your videos have great quality. Definitely subscribing. Thank you so much. W, no cursing needed. Yeah. I agree that it's dumb he got a game loss for it, but these big card game companies like to give off an air of professionalism on a live stream. He should have known better than to swear regardless of the audience. I don't see any harm if you aren't on cameras though. I think that was the main thing. They were live streaming it and they wanted to make sure that like they didn't get flagged by, you know, they didn't get flagged by YouTube or something. I still think it's weird that they were live streaming it under YouTube Kids. Like, I disagree with that 100%, but Banished for Cost says, let's go. What's up? I actually met Banished for Cost in virtual reality on the Duel Cafe. What are you doing back there? I don't think it's about the fan base growing up and them being out of touch. There's this thing called decency. If we're all adults, maybe we should conduct ourselves as such. It's crazy the amount of people who play victim when they don't get their way. And on top of it, bro, it's a business. If I own a business, it's up to me to set the standards. People might like it, but that's not my problem. If I say only red shirts are allowed in a store, it might be dumb, but that's my decision. So yes, right. I feel like this is like the argument of like it's a business, so like it's a private business, so they can do whatever they want. It's like I feel like people misunderstand like this sometimes. It's like I'm not arguing with like a person's ability to make a decision, but like I can still criticize it and call it dumb. Like if a person like per this like example, right? If you like have a store and you only have if you only allow people with red shirts into your store, right? Well, like I'm not going to tell you you're not allowed to make that decision, but I'm going to tell you that's like a stupid decision. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't know. Now, the final video, the very first video I ever uploaded is I went to a Yu-Gi-Oh tournament new player experience. And this was just like, I went to, like, I had only been playing Yu-Gi-Oh for like 3 months at this point, and I went to YCS. It was in Vegas. It was only like a couple hours away from me. So I'm like, fuck it, let me just. And I was just like, all right, let's go to a YCS. So I was gonna enter, but I didn't end up entering because the cards that I had were not what I wanted. But yeah, first event being a YCS is crazy. Yeah, banished for cost. Again, I met him in the Duel Cafe, and he was like, "Oh my gosh, your first event doing that is crazy." So, super cool guy. It was fun meeting him. Didn't know you had only like 3 videos, but each has been delight. I've sent your channel to my friends. Been getting into it just about 3 months ago. Keep the Thank you, my guy. I will try to be better about like uploading. I'm very like sporadic right now. I got community was like, love my new air fryer. Nice. I'm glad you enjoy your air fryer. That's why 2019 toss format was super good for the format. Had decks like Salamangreats, Greats, Orchist. It wasn't just the same 1 and 2 decks. So in this video, I was saying like, oh, when the competitives, he only has like 3 of like the strongest decks around. It kind of promotes. It's just kind of boring, you know. I don't want to see 2 archetypes. I want to see people winning with Skull Servant. I want to see people winning with a Celtic Guardian deck. I want to see people winning with decks that shouldn't make sense but still do. Like that's what I want to see. And you know, when I went to this first YCS, I was kind of disappointed that like literally everyone just played Snake Eye. At this point, they need to reboot the Yu-Gi-Oh game, slowly reintroduce popular cards archetype in the rebooted version of the game, more like life points, easier card mechanic interactions outside of some. So they kind of did that with Speed Duel, Rush Duel, and Duel Links, right? That was kind of like a reboot of the game where it's like a different format where that's supposed to be like easier, and they have now the foresight of like how the game scales so that they can like do things quicker, I guess. But you run into the issue of like, okay, but that's not Yu-Gi-Oh! You know what I'm saying? I've said it several times throughout the video. I do think Yu-Gi-Oh! Like can be saved. For me personally, I love deck cost. Deck cost is my favorite way to deal with this. But Curtis says, please continue making content. You're on your way to being the least toxic Yu-Gi tuber. I will try not to be toxic. Also, I totally agree with top meta being pretty boring, and I've gotten back into Yu-Gi-Oh! And plan to enter a local tournament where apparently the players aren't really into that kind of play, prefer just having fun. Yes, that is where Yu-Gi-Oh! Shines. Not trying to win, but just trying to have fun with people. Like that's where it is. Love your videos. Thank you. I mean, dueling to have fun is kind of counterproductive in Yu-Gi-Oh! When the objective is to win, and almost every deck has a way to stop you from having fun. Well, I feel like that's like, I guarantee you, like if you try to make friends with your opponent first and foremost, like when you enter a duel, you're like, hey bro, like I like your shirt. Hey bro, like, oh cool, you're playing that deck, nice. You know, when you're nice to your opponent, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is just so much more fun. Like have fun, dude. Like, do you use Dueling Book? No, because I have to manually tell it what to do, and that's very scary. And that is all the comments. And that's it. That's all the comments. All right, guys. Thank you, everyone. That was super fun. I really wanted to read a lot of you guys' comments because there are a lot of people telling their stories of how they got into Yu-Gi-Oh! And everything like that. And I felt like we can, like, you know, shine a light on, we can spotlight some of these stories because I think they're like really important. And yeah. Again, thank you everyone for stopping by. Thank you for checking out my channel. Thank you for 1,000 subscribers. I'm super pumped about that. And yeah, check me out on social media. I'm going to try to upload much more consistently. That is one of my New Year's resolutions, to upload more consistently here. And yeah, thank you everyone for tuning in. My name is Zoe. I like Yu-Gi-Oh, and I will catch you in the next one. Later.